say hello, everybody. And I first want to thank Amanda for coming to City Hall last night and go before the City Council. It was awesome. She did a great job, along with Linda, who dressed up as Mrs. Claus, which was absolutely adorable. We have our work ahead, and then Kat Picaro also for being there to give us support in case there was any questions about traffic and our permits and everything else. But in the house here at OCPC, we have Bill and
Rob.
I was going to say Bob, but it's not, whatever. And and we'll get to them in a minute. And maybe Amanda, if I could turn this over to you, and then I know we're going to have Lisa talk. So,
hi everyone. Thanks for joining tonight. So we're pretty getting closer to the finish line. So what we're doing is just trying to finalize getting the information out there to folks. So, you know, as we draw closer to the date, there will be a time where we have to stop registration. So what we're trying to do in the next upcoming, you know, I'd say week and a half is just getting the information out there to folks. That way, if they do still want to participate in some way, shape, or form, whether it's as at a table vendor or a food vendor, or somebody who may want to volunteer, or a group that wants to either march in the parade or do a float, there's still time. So what I'd encourage everybody to do is just continue to get the messaging out there. And, you know, if you're at a meeting or out and about in the neighborhood, just, you know, talk to people about it. We want to keep people excited and keep people engaged. And if anybody has questions, please point them our way. They can shoot an email over to the DBA email address. I'm glad to answer any questions. On that note, we have
Amanda, before you go over to Lisa, you said you still have time. So the deadline for participants in the parade is in fact November 14th, right? Yes.
Correct.
And we are sitting on November 8th. So we have 6 days yet for people, and it's starting to get steam because the word's getting out there, and it's past Veterans Day. So anyway, just wanted to make sure people know November 14th, we're asking everybody to sign in from the participants so that we can have all the information that's necessary. So with that, I turn this over to you, Amanda.
Correct. And then just to remind everybody too, I know that there's been some updated messaging about it and some information going out, but we are still accepting nominations for a Grand Marshal of the parade. So if you have somebody in mind who you think has really made an impact on the city of Brockton through community service or community impact, this is your chance to, you know, make a nomination and set them up for some great recognition. So I encourage everybody to do that as well. Nominations will close at the same time. So let's try to get some more interest there as well. We do have 13 candidates, so a nice group, but it's always great to hear about people who are making an impact. I know Lisa has another meeting to go to because she's a very important person, but we're going to have her just give a little chat first about the food vendor updates so that we can get a little more information about that.
Hello, everybody. Hey. So as Amanda just said, I am partnering with Kadi. So some of you know, she and I are working with the food entities as part of the parade. So we kind of did a divide and conquer, but still partnering together, where we are trying to fill the lot that is the Elder Services lot on the corner of School
Old Colony
and
Elder
Thank
Services.
You.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Sorry if there's anyone on this call from that team that I didn't say that right. So Old Colony Elder Services has graciously donated their empty lot for us to use for food providers. So I'm trying to avoid the word food trucks because there will be food trucks present, but there'll be also other local businesses selling their food. So at this moment in time, I'm excited to say, I know it doesn't sound like a big number, but for the lot specifically, I have many conversations in motion. There have been people who have stopped by the Board of Health today to drop off their applications. So I would tell this group with pure confidence as this time tonight, we have 4 confirmed, 2 pending, bringing their applications tomorrow, and then about 12 or 13 others that are just in the pipeline that I'm talking to, that they're cross-checking their date and availability. So we're trying to avoid any form of duplication. There might be crossover, but I wouldn't want to turn someone away because they serve something similar to someone else at the event. But we are definitely trying to expand the food options that are being brought to the lot.
Lisa, could you let us know which of the 4 and the 2 pending?
I can, hold please.
Mhm.
So, and I know I'm not going to say this right. One of them is the food truck that participated in the Puerto Rican Day celebration. I believe they say Punano.
Yeah.
That's a great group. We're working closely with them. They're confirmed. Jelly Bean Sweets has brought her paperwork down. They've so I'm not worried, but I'm going to call her confirmed.
Yeah.
Cheesy Chicks, mac and cheese, and the Galaxy ice cream truck. I know that sounds crazy for November, but people will enjoy it. New to the spreadsheet today, so new to the form as of late this afternoon, because they were a referral from another confirmed group. I'm anticipating in my pending column, we're calling them Sister Catering right here in Brockton.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good. Yeah.
And then the other entity that is still just pending at this moment, again, I've had great conversations, Work Hard, Eat Good,
Ah,
Gabriel.
nice.
So, but again, I know that I have not said all the names. We got lots of conversations. A handful of people have had to decline because the date they either registered and then realized they had another commitment, or so there are people who have confirmed that they cannot attend.
No,
So
thank you, Lisa.
that's the food lot. I also just want to very generically say, Kadia and I have been working together where she's been a great partner. She has great relationships with the downtown businesses that serve food, for which she is in communication, where we haven't exactly said how we're going to advertise them. We're going to kind of talk about that as our team captains, but we got lots of activity happening with a number of the downtown businesses who serve food.
So I was at Elvira's this morning because they had a soft opening, and I saw not only Sandra there, but also Eval and Letitia for Brockton Beer. So I sent out an email to all the restaurants and as many property owners to kind of give a sense of what they are doing. That's not duplicative. It was just timing. As he was asking, well, if I'm going to send it to him, I might as well send it to everyone. I don't know if I CC'd you on it, Lisa, but I'll send it to you and Kadi. Is that just who I sent it to? And we would want to know what they're doing, so then we can do the promotional. Not only, WATD has offered to sit and talk with us, but also a whole host of, as we were unveiling this, the Buzz is doing a lot of promotion for us. We've taken out some ads with them, but that would be the kind of thing that we would love to be able to support when doing like a special shout out, whether it's the DBA Facebook page or the Instagram or the website. But also I would like to make sure that during the parade, those who are going to be doing the color call, the usually the John Marion piece, that the local restaurants are given a shout out on WATD, as well as Brockton Community Access. So those are kind of a little bit of a give of, what do they get for doing this, as well as, but in addition to that, just sidebar is that through Senator Brady's office, the Downtown Brockton Association received $75,000 in an earmark for the economic development bill, waiting for it to be signed. And I'll be working with all those property owners about, as we move forward from this holiday, how do we continue to do activities in the downtown that support their business? So thank you, Lisa and Kadi, for your work. And the Brockton Business Cafe, I know Kadi's on. They're in, I know Brockton Beer, Elvira's, Luminosity, which is where Linda used to work, but Luminosity is going to be doing hot chocolate out of their location on Main Street. So so those where it's not going to be on the food court, it will be at their business, and they can do anything they want in their business as long as it's being something that is not charging for food, right? That there's also that whole, right? You only need a permit if you're charging, or do you have to get a permit even if you're not charging?
Well, the businesses are, sorry, you kind of lumped that into the business conversation. So they would be existing under their current permit. So, but if you're talking about someone at a table, the language that Mr. Butler used was if they're selling food.
Okay. So I'm talking about a business that is on Main Street that is giving out hot chocolate in front of their own business. I know.
Again, I'm going to go back to the language where he said selling food.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a fine line. Maybe I could check with him, but again, I think he was very clear on if something's being sold.
I would agree. And maybe the next time there's a check-in with him, maybe that can be, we can just ask that. Just, I'd rather be triply checked as
Okay.
opposed to then having them have to take down their table and then saying they're not able to, but thank you.
If I could just clarify, Mary, are they a business that has food
No,
on the
nope,
ongoing, so
nope,
they don't have any
nope,
kind of permitting or
no food.
license now? Okay, doke, I'll
They do not.
clarify. Thank you.
Their Luminosity is a behavioral, it's the old Brockton Neighborhood Health Center, the Christie's Market, corner of West Elm and Main. So they just joined as a member of the DBA as well, because they went onto their website with needs to be updated. So, but yeah, it's a non-food business and they're giving away hot chocolate. So the only thing that makes into my mind is they're consuming and, but not charging. I know it always gets a little bit more complicated than we all want, isn't it? How about questions of Lisa for food and restaurants? And thank you, Lisa. That's a lot of work. And you know, and as you said, there's others pending. We still have some time, obviously. And if anybody has any suggestions, if anybody has any suggestions, we want to make sure it gets funneled and get funneled through Lisa. So if you have any suggestions about any kind of food trucks or anybody that family, relative, or anything like that, just send them along.
I appreciate it. And I just want to shout out one more time, Kadi had some great relationships. So in addition to the names of our brainstorming of who might be a good resource to participate in the downtown businesses, she's been fabulous to work with. So I just thank you for your kind words, but I wanted to patch it to her because
no, thanks, Kadi. I think Kelly's on, not Kadi, but, and they are members of the DBA. We have existing relationships with them as a DBA too. So it's great to have all hands on deck to get, to come from different ways of having people connect. The whole idea, and this is in going before the Montello Business Association this past week, is that we're in this together and not just only downtown. It's all about the businesses and having people from Campello and Montello be supportive of all things downtown or all things Brockton. So I think this year, because of the timing, but Montello definitely said they would look to get businesses from their areas to be participating in a food kind of court type thing. So that's next year. We got to get through this year. Thanks, Lisa and Kadi and Kelly. Appreciate it.
Anytime, Mary.
And Amanda?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you all. So let's move on to, I know that Chile is not on here, but just a quick chat about the vendor marketplace. I think that's definitely where we have the most folks signed up. I'm looking at the sheet right now. Let me just get the number of exactly how many we have on here.
So while you're doing that, Amanda, for all those, that form gets put into a nice Excel spreadsheet. It gets formulated into it if you're volunteering, blah, 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 all these different things. So between Amanda and Peggy, that form has really become nice and formulated and color coded. I screwed the form up over the weekend, but we won't talk about that. But it's helpful. And then, again, to the captains, Lisa, working with Kadi and Kelly, Maureen, and working with the schools and the parade participant, and of course, Peg and Amanda working on everything else, and then Shalia working with the marketplace. So I don't also want to give a shout out to the mayor's office with Kim Sun and with Marcy. They've got that whole city hall down, like pretty well done, so.
Yeah, so, and too, I want to just point the thumbs up over to Peggy for the sheets with the Excel because that's all her. I just go in and add stuff, but she's the one who makes it beautiful. There's 31 vendors / information tables registered. So what we'll do over the upcoming, I'd say, week or so, and I know Shalea has been reaching out to people as well, is just get confirmations, absolute confirmations. That way we know exactly how many people are going to be coming, how much room we have for them. And then what we'll do is we'll start reaching out to people to tell them where they're going to be placed on the day of and what the directions are going to be for getting set up. So what I would say is we're probably going to have to shut down vendor registration pretty soon because it's pretty heavy. So I think once we have confirmations, if we know that a big group of those folks are coming, we're going to have to shut that down a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we'll talk with Shalea about it. I'm going to do a walkthrough with her as well, just to kind of space out. And I think that's going to be the important piece is people really kind of stay in their lane so we can fit as many in. And then probably need to talk, if there may be, even if we don't have, say, a full lot on the Old Colony Elder Services with food, we can put some vendors there.
Correct.
So that's kind of the staking out that, but to your point, the good news is there's lots of people who want to come downtown and have their wares be entrepreneurs and be information.
Yes, and a lot of variety, honestly, in the folks that are registered. So a lot of local talent, a lot of art, a lot of homemade goods. So it should be a pretty interesting crowd. You know, people are excited to get back together again and excited to be shopping small for Christmas and the other holidays that folks are celebrating. So that should be pretty great.
Yes.
We do have a good amount of groups registered to march in the parade as well. A lot of variety there.
Let's Maureen give an update. Okay, Cynthia has a question.
Just before we move from the vendors, I think it would be very, very helpful if we could confirm with the vendors if they are cash only or if they'll accept cards. Because on our little sheet, that would be super helpful to know.
That's actually a really good point. I know that Shalea and the Black-owned Brockton, it's the Cash App, it's Venmo. Some have credit cards. So that's a really good point to try to identify what people have. And then maybe we can identify a couple banks in the local area that have ATMs nearby, and just in case. So thank you, Cynthia. That's a great point.
I agree. That is very good to know. So we can tell people beforehand so they're prepared. So if we want, before we go into just standard participants, Maureen, if you wanted to give an update about schools that we have registered.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So I have, we have 7 schools that are going to do 4 with just 2 of them as floats and the other 5 as marching bands. So I've reached out to them and I've been getting some conversation going on there. And then I also sent letters out to the other 19 groups that had registered for being marching or getting a float that were not school registered. So I reached out to them. I've gotten a few questions back that I want to throw out in a minute just to see where we are. But it looks like everybody that I've reached out to, when I sent out to the schools, a few have even just responded to say, sorry, we don't have a pack this year. We're not gonna participate. So it's at least, we're not like standing here going, okay, did they get it? Are they responding? So it's good communication going on. So I did have Massasoit reached out to me today with a couple of questions in regards to the staging area. Are there going to be porta potties anywhere nearby there? So I thought that was a great question because I know we've talked about, making our number of porta potties a little bit less than previous years, but I don't think we've ever done porta potties in the staging area, but I could be wrong. So
I can answer that we haven't, but I do think it's not a bad idea for the sake of this ease and keeping people together. But that's a good question, Mo.
Yeah, and because he was concerned that the only place to use the bathroom was Joe Angelo's.
Right.
So, and then they also asked if staging was going to be in the Clinton lot again, and I believe that was part of your mapping, Mary, but I didn't
Right.
have enough familiarity with the
Right.
lots.
So I would, at this point, can't confirm like they're gonna be in the same lot. It could be helpful if they are, but it just, once we take a look at the other, 19 and everybody else, that's really kind of how it gets. So, our idea is that there will be the cars, the antique cars that are gonna be in, those get put kind of on the side because when they start the
Revving.
smell of the gasoline and all of that. So, there is a high likelihood they will be in the Clinton lot since they know it's what the Clinton lot is. That might be a good thing. That's one less person that we have to worry about where they need to go. So I'll keep that in mind too.
Okay, and then the Boxer Little League baseball, they asked if they were allowed to give out things during the parade, such as T-shirts, foam baseballs, and candy.
Yep. So in the past, it has been the rule by the previous organizer that to not give out candy. But the idea is that if they're going to give out candy, that they can't be throwing at people and that they really need to be tossing it toward the curb. And so look, if there are people in the parade that they aren't stepping on it and tripping on it. So you know what I mean?
Yep.
But they can do T-shirts, they can do soft, as long as it's not hard baseballs or anything like that, where someone can get a concussion. But candy
Yeah,
has
and it
always
didn't-
been, go ahead.
Sorry, it didn't sound like they wanted to throw them out. It sounded like they wanted to have people walking, handing out things.
That is A-okay to me.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah.
And then the only other question, sorry, before we jump back was if there's a request to be near another group in the lot, who does that request go to? Because who's going to be placing the,
Just send them to myself and Amanda. We'll figure
Okay.
that out. Let's,
Perfect.
but they should, if they do want to be next to somebody else because there's a familiarity, if it makes it a happier place, then that works out too.
it was a mom doing one thing and her daughter in another group,
There we
so
go.
she was
So
trying to
that-
help.
I would say we make those kind of accommodations.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
How could
Um,
we say no to that?
No
Right?
kidding, right? I did receive an email from Bridgewater State. Did they sign up yet?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Okay. There's been a couple groups that we're still missing. I've sent it to Phyllis Ellis with the Brockton chapter of NAACP to see about them participating. There was a couple other emails that I've been, Bridgewater State was one other. So I need us to kind of take a look at who has not registered. That's the most important. And the captains know that list, but it'll be real important to know who has not shown up so we can make sure we reach out. Maureen?
So can I just circle back, because last week I wasn't at the meeting, but the information came to me after the meeting that I was not to reach out to Matt Cunningham because somebody else was doing that. And as of right now, we have not heard from him. So was that connection made? And
So know what I'm going to have you do, Maureen? I'll do an email to Kim's son and Marcy at the mayor's office because they were the ones that were reaching out. So at City Hall, they between 11 and 12:30, they're looking to have 4 different choral groups. And perfect, Lisa. Thank you for doing that. That will be a big. But so they're having 4 different choral groups, and one of them is Brockton High School. So what I may do, I'll send a quick email out to you and to Kimson and Marcy to see if they've heard back. And then if they have not, I'm going to offer that because I know you know Matt really well. So if just even to get a response back. And
Okay.
just because you asked a question in case anybody else on this meeting is asking it as well. So Maureen earlier, she and we chatted, and the question is just getting to the Brockton Public Schools to pay for about buses for the Brockton schools and making sure they're accommodated. So Maureen teed up an email to me, and I'm just going to send that off to Superintendent Thomas and the staff that he's assigned for this for the parade for the students. So what was the other question that you asked, Ma?
Oh, it was the timing of the earlier it was the timing of the marching band showing up.
Oh, right, correct. So it's a really good question because anybody that's on this are gonna know you're involved with the parade, they're gonna ask you, even walking by and as a t-shirt. So ideally, Cap Picaro can also help in on this one. So the roads start closing down at 11. Am I right, Cap?
The parade's at 1 o'clock, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, we'll probably start shutting down maybe about a half an hour prior to that, maybe around 12:30.
Okay, all right, that's
Yeah.
helpful.
12:15, 12:30-ish.
So I think the only thing, and we'll keep in touch with you, Cap, in terms of the number of folks, because this is the first time since 2019 that people are here. And as we've talked at the several meetings, is that we feel that there's going to be more people that are just showing up more than ever. So with that, ideally, because the only concern is to having people in the parade and getting to their staging area so they're not stuck in traffic. And that was a
Right.
question that Maureen had talked. So we really want to be able to make sure, I think the previous rules were that you have to show up 2 hours in advance. And that's a long time for young people trying to corral them and keep them active. So ideally, we would want all participants in the parade to be there for 12. But if you can imagine, I mean, I've been at the back end of this where you start that parade. It's a good, so if you get there an hour in advance and you're waiting, you're at the very end, you're waiting a whole nother hour. You know, there's people that are completing the parade just as people haven't even started. So it's that timing, but let's put it at least an hour to have those to be at their staging area. The whole point of having things in downtown so they can go walk around and all do the kids stuff and then come back. That's the good part about what we're doing this year is there's a lot more activities. Thank you, Kat. Maureen, does that help?
It does, thank you.
Amanda, I don't know if I think we're good on parade. Mo, that's yes, Cynthia.
Yep, I just had a quick question. I don't know if you were segueing to something else, but I was thinking about like what you were talking about, like you know, people getting around and stuff and thinking about the street closures. So how are we notifying the businesses along the parade route? Like I'm thinking about Harbor One, like Legion Parkway is going to be closed the whole, like for most of the day or part of the day.
Because they have a float in the parade and that's why they're gonna be, but I have flyers. Last year I went around, passed out flyers to everybody. My intention was gonna start to do it this week, but I'm gonna do it next week. The Veterans Parade is this week, but they don't, I don't think they give any notices, but we're gonna send an email out to my 60 names that I have for the DBA on top of doing flyers and going to each of the locations and posting.
Well, spread that duty out, Mary. We can help with that.
Yes.
So let's, you know, if you want to split up the list, you know,
Awesome.
we can help with that. So
What I'll do is I'll have them printed and then I'll have them here and between Kelly and Kadi and Cynthia and Amanda and anybody else, it literally is not just only give it to a location, it's giving it to the manager's hand so they know. So, great.
Correct. Well, on top of that too, you know, it'll generate some interest too, I think, as well
That's
for
right.
businesses to share what they're doing on that day so that we can get that information out there as well.
yeah.
Great. So, thank you for those who have put your associations next to your name. So Winnie, Pinnacle Partnerships, we love you guys. Winnie, you guys are gonna be in the parade, correct?
That's the question. We would love to be someplace stationary, so folks can walk up to the clinic.
Yeah.
So if you can let us know where my thought was we want to be where the crowd, you know, where they'll be, where the you know, good meeting point. Typically, we like to be near the food area, because everyone will go to the food area. So, but you can let us know because
So
we'll have.
Sorry. My question is, last year you needed electricity.
We have a generator.
That makes life a lot easier. So
Yeah.
we can definitely do that. So last year you were at the, across the street at the Mass Hire building in the driveway. They're gonna have their they have a mobile training, but it's not gonna be in the parade. It's gonna be stationary there. So, but where the people are, you just heard about the vendors, you're hearing about the food. That's where people are gonna be. City Hall, all that activity. So,
So you can let us know where you feel that, we'd love to be in any of those two areas.
great. Thank you. And then Elizabeth, Redeemed Christian Church, I see that you are on. Tell us a little bit about your involvement with the parade.
Yes, good evening. Last year we participated, we set up a table and give away to families, and then our young ones did dance at the lots, the parking lots, and then the choir sang. So that was what we did last year. We would just like to be where the family can get to us and, interact and, just interact with them. And the young ones, last year we tried to do face painting, but it was so cold, so it was really cold where we were. The wind was so much.
It was Elizabeth. I can still feel that cold from a year ago. It was a cold, windy day.
Yes.
So Amanda, I know that do you want to, thank you.
So thanks, Elizabeth. I have you guys registered to, I think what it said was to do a dance performance. Is that correct?
Yes. And
Okay.
choir.
And singing. Mhm.
Okay, excellent.
And then have a table set up. We had a table set up last year for family interaction. And it was so, people came up to us and we just, we want to get to know everybody in the neighborhood. And that was what we did. We had a great time last year interacting with the families and children. Yes.
Excellent. So what I'll do, Mary, is I'm going to duplicate them on the sheet. So Elizabeth, I have you guys under performers already, but I'm going to put you up for a table spot as well. Okay.
Thank you.
And that will be with the crowd, Elizabeth. But the performing, the dance and the singing will happen in the amphitheater area.
Right. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Elizabeth,
thank you.
is my friend Nime part of your church?
Yes, she is.
My neighbor
and I
across
think
the street.
my husband too used to own a pharmacy downtown.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's right. We talked about this.
Yes.
It was one of the first pharmacy in downtown. Awesome. So see, it all comes full circle with everybody.
Yes.
Maybe Amanda, maybe you want to talk about, so besides the Redeemed Christian Church, who's going to be dancing and singing, maybe let's talk a little bit about the performers that are going to be out at the amphitheater.
Sure. So I have two other, hold on, I'm just trying to look at the sheet and take notes. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have DJ Joe, of course. It's been in the holiday jams for everyone all day.
Yeah.
And then I did receive a couple messages over the last few days, both from two young ladies who would like to perform, both singers who would like to sing some holiday songs as well.
Great.
So I'm going to follow up with the two of them as well.
Right. And I know that we were looking for maybe a magician. So one of the things, if anybody went to Tower Hill Festival, they had face painting and balloon making. And so I think those kind of activities and making sure both, there'll be some things inside City Hall, but we want to make sure that there's activities outside as well. What else are we missing? Let's talk. Did we talk about City Hall? We did. I'm trying to think what else. Is there anybody else that's on that we haven't? I don't know if Kelly, if there's any input or anything that you would like to share. maybe not. So maybe while we're here, so Bill, maybe you wanted, so a couple of things that I wanted just to make mention is, so it's amazing what happens on Facebook is that when someone posts something and then trying to figure things out. So Bill Hogan, who's a former Hogan's Hobby Shop, which was held downtown, but he still is very much engaged in downtown. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about what
I can do. Yeah.
well, what you're proposing to do and how it can be working with the work that we're
Yeah.
doing.
Well, I plan on doing a couple of things. I have a Brockton history exhibit up at the Brockton Public Library. It's in place right now. That would be self-guided tours.
Yeah.
People can just go in. It's on the 3rd floor.
It's awesome.
Mark has seen it.
Yes.
He's at the library a lot.
I went yesterday.
Yeah, and I'd like to, is it Amanda that handles the people that are marching? in the
Yes.
parade? We'll be doing a Brockton Athletic Hall of Fame inductees later in the day. Has nothing to do with the parade that night. But we may want to march in the parade. The problem with that is we're all getting elderly, and I'm not sure who's going to be able to march. I have to talk to them individually. It wouldn't be a float. It would just be a bunch of people walking with a banner. Can I register and then let you know how we're doing with that?
Absolutely. Mary, can
I'll get the information from Bill,
Yeah.
and then phone number is, so
I can
Bill's
give you the
not,
phone.
Bill's not a big email guy.
Yeah.
And
I have the paper
Yeah.
registration sheet too, Bill, if that's
Right.
better for you. I can send a copy to Mary and she can print it out.
Is that the one that you sent to the counselors last night? All right,
Yes,
I'll print that, have them fill it out and then scan it in.
Yeah.
Great.
The problem with that is I'm 65 and I'm the young guy. So yeah, give you an idea. I don't know who's gonna want to march.
You let me know. Let me know.
But,
Yeah.
but why wouldn't you think about having folks go on a float?
We don't have a float. Well, they could if we had a float to get on. Yeah, somebody would allow us to. Yeah,
You're resourceful.
I'll try.
I mean, because I think to your point, I mean, as much as
Yeah.
it's not really that long of a route, but it's a long enough
It's a mile and
route.
a half
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Oh, I don't, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's long enough, to your
Right.
point,
Sure.
is that, but that would be great. That's another way.
Yeah.
And what I would also, one of the things I've talked about with Joe Angelo, of course, is that, he's got, there'll be things, he'll be open, but to the point that Bill is talking about, there'll be an activity downtown. Again, not really to do with the parade, but it's an activity. So if I'm going to go downtown and I'm hunkered down and I'm going to get something to eat, I might as well go over to Joe Angelo's and see what sort of the athletics are being acknowledged. So,
And I can't speak for the library, but they usually do a very good job decorating.
yeah.
And I can't say what they're doing. It's not my show. But if I was a betting man, I'd bet that they're gonna have some decorations in there and things like that. It's not my show, but
No,
they
the,
usually do
the,
they do a
the
good job
library-
decorating in there, yeah.
yeah, they've given some information about some stuff that they plan to do on that day too. So we're definitely going to point folks in that direction as well. We want people to be able to check things out, but also it's a nice opportunity to warm up.
So the Brockton Main Library said they're going to do children's activities and have the planetarium adventures.
Okay.
So those are the two things, but what we can do is also add the Brockton history exhibit, and maybe that we can take some pictures and have that be part of,
Sure.
if you're gonna go there, just don't go to the planetarium, come take a look at some of the exhibits that are there.
Now, Bill, while I have you here, is it okay for me to mention that on social media? Is that okay with you?
Oh, yeah, I'm all
Okay.
over social media.
Okay.
Yes. I
And-
Yeah,
appreciate
there's
it.
already a lot of good pictures about his exhibit on social
Yeah.
media too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'll
it's a
push the-
great thing. Great.
I'll push the parade. I have 15,000 people on my Facebook group. And
Awesome.
I'll be pushing the parade.
Actually, something that just came up and it has to do with the library. I would love to have the Brockton Poet Laureate and the Youth Poet Laureate be part of the parade.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we can get them, but we'll figure it out.
He'll be at the library Saturday.
Yeah,
Philip will. I will be
yeah.
too.
And so I somehow, or even, I mean, it. to
We can
have
reach out to
them-
Paul Engel if you want.
Let's do that. And then, again, you could be innovative. You know, there is a gentleman from, I don't want to know if it's Wheels of Time. There's an antique car. He mentioned that he usually has the Marshall be in it, but I think it was 1 or 2 years. But that would be a really cool thing to use that antique car to put the poet laureate and the youth poet laureate in that car.
Is it, Mary, excuse me? Is
Yeah.
it Philip Hosaurus this year?
It is, yeah. It's, well, Philip is, and he's been noted as but it's both. It's two. It's the poet laureate and the youth poet laureate.
Yeah, I can get a hold of Philip if you like.
Well, it's however, but it's not just Philip, because
Yes, the other
the young
one.
woman. So
Mhm.
I would, I'll leave that to between Cynthia and Peggy, reaching out to the library, see if that's something that we can get them. And then once we know that they're confirmed that they'd be interested, then we'll get the antique car. It's not big enough to fit how many of the 65 and older
It
folks?
could be 20 of us.
Yeah, that's not gonna fit into an antique car, but
The limo.
Yeah.
that might be. So think about some ways, this group can kind of think of some ways how to accommodate the 20 folks. The other idea, Brockton area transit, to maybe get folks to get onto a bat bus and wave out the window from the bat bus. Mike Lambert.
Do those windows open?
They'll, if they're not open, they'll make them open. But
Big strong.
but it would be somehow, again, this is why.
I'll
this-
work on it again. tonight
That would be
and
great.
See what I can, if I knew enough
People,
convertibles were coming for the Wheels of Time,
yeah,
that would work.
I don't know if, so it
Yeah,
was
you don't
only
know.
one individual person who had one antique car, not
Oh,
all of them, the rest of
all
them ride their
Yeah, I
own.
don't know.
But you know what, we can find out if it's something that they would have.
Yeah.
The athletic group, so. Lots of, see, this is where we're getting into that next layer of things going on, so. I want it to be confirmed, Bill, that there is no block party going on.
No, we're just the businesses that are open there. It's the beer, like, when I say the beer company, I actually mean the business, cafe,
Yes,
coffee.
so, but.
Coffee,
but
Joe
we're
Angelo's.
already working with
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
yeah,
they're already in.
but I know, but
Yeah.
I just wanted, just so it's clear, we're not calling it a block party because you need a permit for that.
Yeah.
And I really want to be careful because it's not associated with the DBA,
Yeah.
because we're doing all things
Yeah.
according to.
I wouldn't list it, I wouldn't even list it, just,
I know, but it's on social media and people see downtown.
Yeah.
They're gonna think it's us, and that's the only thing I want to be careful about. I have no issues about people doing their own thing, but when it's kind of associated a bit, but. Kadi and Kelly have been talking already with the bookstore and with Julian. And obviously we're, chatting with Joe Angelo about what's going on. How about the other, you guys doing anything else?
Rob's with the, Rob can't see you, Rob's behind.
Yeah.
He's with the Lions
Right,
Club.
right.
They're not sure if they're coming, I don't know if they're registered with you. or
They're
yet.
not,
Yeah, so Rob's gonna try to get a hold of them, so that he'll
Right.
give you a shout out, Amanda.
yeah.
Yeah. And,
Absolutely.
Rob can't speak for his own, but I know what he was gonna say.
Hi, Rob.
Hello.
Um,
Rob's like a district chairman in the whole area.
I'm
East
a
Bridgewater.
zone chair. I
Zone-
take
what is
care
it?
of, I'm a zone chair with Alliance. I take care of 5 codes.
So we're still trying to get them involved.
How about, can we just take just one more minute? We have flushing out anybody else we're missing. Winnie, from your perspective, from Pinnacle, you've dealt with a lot of different groups. I'd love to see, I'd love to see Vicente's Tropical. They have a great truck that's all painted, even for them to be in the parade. I want our community to be showing up, right? And the school system is, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of wonderful, Vicente's, but who else I'd like to see is get the Hispanic festival happen. And there were some great dancers. I'd love to see they as an organization to be part of the parade. I'm gonna talk to Ed. Okay.
Have you
How about-
spoken to Lady C and J?
Yes, so Cynthia is been in contact. We haven't heard her yet so she was here at the parade last year. And we're just waiting to hear back. So,
Yeah, I think Lisa reached out today.
okay. Her daughter, Jamie, is up for election today, so I know they were tied in holding signs, so how about others?
Haitian Community Partners,
Asian
Marlene.
Community Partner. I reached out to Marlene, but Asian community, I think I need to individually. But I'll get Marlene.
Clydesdale's coming?
Nope, Clydesdales are not coming,
Oh,
so they cost $8,000
boy. Yeah, that's a good reason not to come, yeah.
for 15 minutes to be on the
Wow.
parade. We decided, actually, what I would love
That's
to
too bad.
think, and I haven't even done this, but perhaps the state police has a equestrian, so their horses, or the sheriff's office has also horses. They're not quite the Clydesdale, but they're horses.
Nice, yeah.
In fact, I remember last year we were trying to have the Clydesdale be in an area so at least some folks can see them. But we were told that they need to be isolated and only to be in the show. So, if anybody has a contact or anybody can help make some inquiries to the state police for their equestrian as well as the sheriff's office. I know the sheriff is in election today too, so they're not able to, Cap Picaro,
Yeah, Mary, I'll look into that for you. I'll take care of that for you.
would you please, Cap?
Yeah, yep,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Right, don't you think, I think if we're able to have them, it's just a presence and support as well, and, perfect, thank you.
Yep, no problem. I'll let you know.
Thank you, wow, look at that. How about anything else? I know, Cap, thank you. Anything else we think, like, put yourself into what families' shoes and what they would want to see, and, like I said, City Hall is gonna be filled, really, that's where Santa's gonna be, and that's where, craft stuff, but then it's also gonna be, Amanda and I, we did a quick, what was it, on Friday? We just went looking on Amazon for all these oversized toys and games that people can play, and Cap, the VFW Parkway where the flags are, that's gonna be shut down, is that correct?
Say again, Mary, I'm sorry.
The, where the flags are, VFW Parkway, that's gonna be shut down.
Yeah, we're gonna keep that East Elm Street VFW Parkway area shut down for you.
Our thought is going to be, well, that could be another place to put marketeers. But we may need to do one more walkthrough, Cap, just once we take a look at our marketplace. Like you guys, ideally, if we had 50 people like doing their wares in downtown, like how awesome would that be that someone wants to be in downtown? They're not running away from downtown, they're coming to downtown.
Right.
And from my perspective, it supports the local businesses that are already here.
Mhm.
So having that, so when Amanda and I were chatting, we were looking at like this inflatable skeet ball, or where it can just be packaged up, and big chess games where they can just be, we'll get like a what do you call it, just like the fake rug, or what I mean, the fake grass, and have that be spread out. So those are the kind of things we're looking at. The Touch-A-Truck that was kind of programmed seems to be a little bit uncertain, and the reason is because DPW is going to be in the parade, and with them being in the parade, they don't think they're able to do both, be the parade and Touch-A-Truck. Last year we had the fire department, we had police department, we had BEMA, Brockton Community Access, we had Brewster Ambulance. I don't know yet if we can pull that off, if there's enough interest. So thoughts?
Hold on, Mary. Can you backtrack a tiny bit? I'm so sorry. I was typing.
Okay.
For enough interest for what? For
Or the
Touch-A-Truck?
Touch-A-Truck. So I'm not talking about the kids' interest. We know that the kids would be interested. I'm talking about actual Touch-A-Truck and who we can get. David Lynch has always been great to have one of his trucks, and then they go scoot off to the parade, right? So I know, Cap, your thoughts about that?
Where would you put all that?
26 School Street, the vacant lot where Prova.
Okay. I mean, it's a great idea. We can certainly have some cruises there. That's not a problem. I'm sure fire will accommodate.
Okay,
Um,
okay. You know what? So let me, go ahead, Amanda.
I was gonna say, that would be great, like a couple, police cruises, and then maybe if we could get the fire department to come down with a fire truck.
They're pretty good just being up on Pleasant Street. Because then they're going to be in the parade as well, usually toward the end, just before Santa, they're always in the parade too. All right, so let me get in touch with the owners of 26 School Street. That's the gravel part of the, where it was last year. And then I'll get the details to you, Mark, and then I'll get it to Brian, to Chief Nardelli, and then a contact to Brewster Ambulance. I know Mark Brewster, I have his contact somewhere. But when I do that, I'll CC UCAP just to make sure, they know that we're legit asking, so, and of course Lynch's. So I'll double check to see what he's got before he's got to be pulled off to get ready for the parade. Lots of moving parts, but I think that would be across the street. So if you're thinking about if you're Pinnacle or if you're a vendor, you've got all this cross and the family and coming and going. Now we're talking John Marion's having millions and millions of people in the downtown, like he always talks about, right? Like, okay, maybe we've got like 800, but
10,000.
10,000 usually, that's his
a million
number.
people downtown.
Right. So I will, as soon as I confirm with the owners, I'll get in touch with you, Mark, so you can perhaps, that might be another even opportunity with the sheriff's office if they have some cars or anything like that.
Sure.
Okay, all right, so we're on for the touch-a-truck as long as we get the okay from the property owners. And speaking of Prova for a minute, I've been in touch with them. We can use their tables that they've had. Brockton Beer actually has it in their place, and we're able to take those tables that they have and use it in the food court. In addition to that, the DW Field Park Association has Adirondack chairs just for little kids and for adults, and those will be in the food court as well. So, yep, it all happens. And in addition, we don't have to go after them. They're going to bring all that they are going to deliver it, and they're going to take it back. So for that, but this is so just for everybody's purposes, for someone like that, we're actually going to we're going to make a donation to the DW Field Park Association because they're doing that delivery and it's for a good cause. And that's the kind of partnership that we do. So, because otherwise we'd have to rent it and be costing us $1,000, just saying. So, all right, touch-a-truck, City Hall. We're going to add the 26 School Street once we get confirmation that I will email to all of you who are on this meeting the email that I sent out to the property owners. And again, some of the things that only the Adams garage is going to be open because the Carpenter garage is pay by your plate. And so they don't have the capacity to stop that, but they need to figure it out because it needs to happen soon. Kudos to Amanda for working with myself and the Parks Department. We've got the permit to be on City Hall for activity. So thank you for doing that. I'm going before the Licensing Commission next Wednesday night for the permission to, what am I doing? Oh, for the parade, for the parade itself, and for all the activities. So they're giving us permission to do that. So that's next Wednesday. And Maureen has her hand up.
So Lisa just got back to me. Magician is a go. She has the magician.
Wow, okay.
Look at that.
So do me a favor, Mo, when you get in touch with Lisa, just the cost and an invoice, I'm asking anybody if there's an invoice, get it to me more sooner than later, because then we pay, there's a lot of stuff going on. So if there's anything, a cost associated with anything, get it to me right away. And then I'll be meeting with our treasurer of the DVA. But that's great. Magician's great. That's awesome. So go, I know we lost them, but you know, for the Christian
Redeemed Christian Church. Yep.
Team Christian Church, thank you. We should tell them, I know, just to be prepared to do face painting. Everybody loves painting, face painting, and then everybody likes the balloon stuff. So,
Sure.
and I think we talked about it the last time. Jean Care, she is connected us with the one vendor for the toys that go in little shopping carts. And she's already said, no fake guns, no poppers, none of those. And we'll get $200 from them to be there. So that's the DBA receiving that as a resource. Mo, do you still have a question? Okay. Anybody else questions?
Oh, very good. Can't wait.
Your games, you were mentioning putting big things like chess and stuff.
Mhm.
They also had those big Connect Four games.
Oh, yeah,
And they also have the Jenga.
over at the
big,
Provo,
huge.
right?
So if you have those.
Yep.
Those would be good. to-
Yep.
to play.
Thank you. I'll
The
connect.
Connect Four is my fave.
And they got a giant Connect Four and they also have the giant Jenga.
Jenga, that Prova, yeah. That's great. We'll do that without having to pay for that. Any other questions? So we need to get back to you, Winnie. Do you have Amanda? You do. You have Amanda? You're all connected. Okay, great.
And how early can we come in to set up?
About tomorrow, just kidding. Sorry. I believe that we are saying, you know what? Amanda will send you an email that give you all the details.
Okay.
But it will, I think we're looking to have people really get there like around 9. If you require additional setup, we can, you know, I'm gonna be here by 7:30, just because it's just to make sure things are flowing and so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Someone do me a favor, all of you, if you have my cell phone, just text me. I gotta get those porta potties ordered and I just have to call them. They gave me we're gonna go back to the same place as we did last year. So we usually have two handicap bathrooms to accommodate, and so we'll do the same. I think I'm just, for the sake of having more events and more things, we'll just order the same that we had last year. So
Is City Hall open that day?
City Hall basement is
Yeah,
open.
Okay,
Um,
so they're not, okay, everything's outside for the most part.
Everything is mostly outside,
Good, good.
first floor. So the only ones who are gonna be at City Hall between Santa, the mayor's office having kids activity, the Council on Aging is selling items. The garden club is doing pine cones with something on it, sprinkles. The African-American, Birdseed, thank you.
I don't
The
know.
African American Association is going to be doing some kids activity. And that's it.
You got
Then
it.
and then between 11 and 12:30 up in the Rotunda area, there'll be some choral group singing. So just a shout out to Brockton Community Access, even though they're not on, they really have been great in working with us, and they have the agenda. They know where they're going to. And, you know, for Pinnacle, maybe what we can do is you and Amanda can work with each other in creating maybe a special flyer that we can do for downtown. And are you doing any kind of giveaways for shots, Winnie?
Yes, $75 for all doses. I just shared that with Amanda.
Thank you. So I got my shot and I could have gotten 75. That's amazing. But you know what? I'm not the one who needs it. But I think though, if we can get that, and if we have it in multiple language, that'd be great too. If you don't, then we can figure it out. We can do that.
We do.
Um,
Get that over to you.
All right. So missing anything else? Amanda, do you want to close this out?
Yeah, nothing else that I can think of. Does anybody have any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, or pearls of wisdom that they'd like to share before we wrap up?
But I have a map that will be updated by my staff. Let me do this so it's straight. It has the locations, has the route. It needs to be just updated just a little bit more. And, you know, we should be encouraging folks along. So I'm going to be sending out an email to all the residents, residential developments downtown, to let the owners, and one of them, Jason Korb, who has station lofts, he said he probably will have, did he sign up yet? I think they were gonna look to do a car in the parade, and I don't know what else, so,
No, ma'am, not yet.
okay, we'll get that. So Cap, next year, we just have to make our parade route longer.
If you were gonna get a hold of
Just
that-
kidding, I'm sorry.
I'd like to see Dial-A-Bat come back in the parade.
Dial-A-Bat, we
They
can,
used to have the bus come through the parades and then they stopped for whatever reason.
so I think, besides COVID, getting, Brockton area transit, getting drivers to do it, is, I think, the challenge, but I will, I'll be with Mike Lambert, the administrator, tomorrow, and I will ask him about, getting them involved.
Awesome.
So I think we're good.
We meeting next Tuesday?
We are, the meeting is next Tuesday.
Okay,
Um,
Tuesdays are good for me.
so I'm gonna have you stay for a minute because I need to
Okay.
talk a little bit about Facebook page. But thank you, everybody, and Amanda for leading the parade. For a girl from Southie who's never been to the Brockton parade, this woman has really kind of stepped up our game here. So thank you very much, Amanda, and for everybody for volunteering. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, guys. Really excited, crunch time over the next couple weeks, so everyone will just be patient with one another because we're gonna be talking a lot.
If I wander around downtown without knowing my name, Cap just kind of pick me up and send me over somewhere.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Night.